Greetings, honored guests, and welcome to the House of Branching Paths. Today we shall not actually be traveling through the house, but rather we shall journey through the grounds. Please follow me. You see, whilst gathering wood for this evening's fire, Grandmaster Imris happened upon a marvelous forest glade which he hadn't encountered before. It was so pleasant that he has insisted on sharing it with all of you. Thus he has brought the scaldic flame from inside the house into the glade, and it is there that they shall tell their tale. Who knows what strange tales the fire might call up from this new location? Fortunately, you will not have to wait long to find out, as we have arrived. I leave you now with the circle. Honored guest, I know it is a different sight that greets you to see only myself. No worries, though. Lady Morgana will join us shortly. You see, more and more animals have been appearing on our grounds as of late. What with everything in bloom now, and our fountains all cleared and filled to the brim with lake and sea life, Lady Morgana has become quite protective of her...
Imris, they're trying to steal my fish!
Now, I don't think they are trying to steal them. I think the animals are merely curious to see so many changes at once.
Well, you might not be worried about my little sea puppies, but did you know that I saw a particularly large deer munching around your potion garden?
Not my mugwort!
Oh, your mugwort indeed, and your lavender, and your rosemary, and your mandrake.
Oh. Right, I agree. We shall do something. I needed to have that love potion done in a fortnight. Now, with the herbs eaten...
Love potion? Where was this one going?
Oh, a friend of mine in Verona needed something with a little extra kick.
The last love story that happened in Verona.
Oh, I know.
Well, perhaps I may be persuaded to enchant both the garden and my dear ponds and fountains with a protection spell.
All right, I will also grow aquatic plants for your sea puppies.
Well, I am simply delighted that we had this talk. I'll be back in just a moment, and
No, Lady Morgana. It must wait just a bit, for our dear honored guests have arrived once more.
Oh, well, of course. We welcome you always with open arms, only you must take notice of your surroundings when leaving. Of all the little bandits I've seen eyeing my fish, the most concerning has been a large grey wolf.
A wolf? How large? It could possibly be a lichen.
No, not quite that large, and besides, the moon is waning.
I think the wolf may have just been taking a drink.
Oh, you're on the wolf side.
I'm simply saying we don't know the whole story.
The whole story, you say, about a wolf's motives in question? Well, my friend, I do believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames.
The fire burns bright, with stories ever knowing.
Of course, this is not the first time a wolf has been in question.
And we know what you may be thinking, honored guests, that this is a tale well known to you, that you may even know who the central player is. But you are incorrect.
Yes, many may believe Little Red Riding Hood to be our tale tonight, But dear Emrys and I are here to tell you the true story.
Yes, honored guests, you see, in the nature of storytelling, many details may be misheard, changed, or forgotten, which is why it is crucial for Morgana and I to carry on the circle.
So when you carry our words here tonight on with you, make sure to know her name.
Our words tonight will come from the Red Fairy book.
Published in 1890 by Andrew Lang. The True History of Little Golden Hood.
You know the tale of poor little Red Riding Hood that the wolf deceived and devoured with her cake, her little butter can, and her grandmother.
Well, the true story happened quite differently as we know now. First of all, the little girl was called, and is still called, Little Golden Hood.
Secondly, it was not she nor the good grandam, but the wicked wolf who was, in the end, caught and devoured.
Only listen.
There was once a little girl, pretty and nice as a star in its season. Her real name was Blanchette, but she was more often called Little Golden Hood, on account of a wonderful little cloak with a hood,
Gold and fire-covered,
which she always had on. This little hood was given her by her grandmother, who was so old that she did not know her age. The grandmother said,
"The hood ought to bring you good luck, for I made it out of a ray of sunshine."
And as the good old woman was considered something of a witch, everyone thought the little hood rather bewitched too. And
so it was, as you will see.
One day the mother said to the child,
"Let us see, my little Golden Hood, if you now know how to find the way by yourself. You shall take this good piece of cake to your grandmother for a Sunday treat tomorrow. You will ask her how she is. You'll come back at once without stopping to chatter on the way with people you don't know. Do you quite understand?"
Little Golden Hood answered,
"I quite understand." And off she went with the cake, quite proud of her errand.
But the grandmother lived in another village, and there was a big wood to cross before getting there. At a turn of the road, under the trees, Golden Hood suddenly called out,
"Who goes there?" She was answered with the reply,
"Friend Wolf."
The wolf had seen the child start alone, and the villain was waiting to devour her, when, at the same moment, he thought,
Some woodcutters across the way might observe me.
And he changed his mind. Instead of falling upon Blanchette, he came frisking up to her like a good little dog. The wolf said,
"'Tis you, my nice little Golden Hood." So the little girl stopped to talk with the wolf, who, for all that, she did not know in the least. Let us hear what was said.
"You know me, then. What is your name?"
"My name is Friend Wolf. And where are you going thus, my pretty one, with your little basket on your arm?"
"I am going to my grandmother to take her a good piece of cake for her Sunday treat tomorrow."
"And where does she live, your grandmother?"
"Oh, she lives at the other side of the wood, in the first house in the village near the windmill, you know?"
Yes, I know now. Well, that's just where I'm going. I shall get there before you, no doubt, with your little bits of legs, and I'll tell her you're coming to see her. Then she'll wait for you.
Thereupon the wolf cut across the wood, and in 5 minutes arrived at the grandmother's house. He knocks at the door.
No answer.
He knocks louder.
Nobody.
So the wolf stood up on end, put his 2 forepaws on the latch, and opened the door. The wolf thought to himself,
Not a soul in the house.
the old woman had risen early to sell herbs in the town, and she had gone off in such haste that she had left her bed unmade, with her great nightcap on the pillow, the wolf remarked.
Good. I know what I'll do.
The wolf shut the door, pulled on the grandmother's nightcap down to his eyes, then he lied down all his length in the bed and drew the curtains.
In the meantime, the good Blanchette went quietly on her way, as little girls do, amusing herself here and there. She thought as she went along,
Oh, I'll pick grandmother some Easter daisies.
and she journeyed on, watching the little birds making their nests and running after the butterflies which fluttered in the sunshine. At last she arrives at the door.
The wolf answered her, but tried to soften his rough voice as best he could when they had their second meeting.
Who is there?
It's me, Granny, your little Golden Hood. I'm bringing you a piece of cake for your Sunday treat tomorrow.
Press your finger on the latch, then push, and the door opens.
Why, you got a cold, Granny.
A little, replies the wolf, pretending to cough. Shut the door well, my little lamb. Put your basket on the table and lie down by me. You shall rest a little.
The good child lay down, but observe this, she kept her little hood upon her head.
When she saw what a figure her granny cut in bed, the poor little thing was much surprised. Golden Hood and the disguised wolf spoke at length.
Oh, how like you are to my friend Wolf, Grandmother.
That's on account of my nightcap, child.
Oh, what hairy arms you've got, Grandmother.
All the better to hug you, my child.
Oh, what a big tongue you've got, Grandmother.
All the better for answering, child.
Oh, what a mouthful of great white teeth you have, Grandmother.
That's for crunching little children with.
And the wolf opened his jaws wide to swallow Blanchette.
But she put down her head and cried,
Mama! Mama!
and the wolf only caught her little hood.
Thereupon the wolf cried out,
Oh dear, my throat is on fire!
He drew back, crying and shaking his jaw as if he had swallowed red-hot coals. It was the little fire-colored hood that had burnt his tongue right down his throat.
The little hood, you see, was one of those magic caps that they used to have in former times, in the stories, for making oneself invisible or invulnerable.
So there was the wolf with his throat burnt, howling and howling as if all the dogs in the country were at his heels. But he managed to say,
I must return to the wood. I must get away.
and he jumped off the bed to find the door.
But Just at this moment, the grandmother arrived, returning from the town with her long sack empty on her shoulder. When she met the wolf at her door, grandmother yelled out,
"Ah, brigand, wait a bit!"
And quickly she opened her sack wide across the door, and the maddened wolf sprang in head downwards. Grandmother triumphantly said,
There it is, ye now that is caught, swallowed like a letter in the post.
For the brave old dame shuts her sack so, and she runs and empties it in the well, where the vagabond, still howling, tumbles in and is drowned.
The wolf had time just to say,
"No, I didn't mean it. Let me out! Let me out!" The grandmother answered,
"Ah, scoundrel, you thought you would crunch my little grandchild. Well, tomorrow we will make a little muff of your skin, and you yourself shall be crunched, for we will give your carcass to the dogs."
Thereupon the grandmother hastened to find poor Blanchette, who was still trembling with fear in the bed. Grandmother remarked,
"Well, without my little hood, where would you be now, darling?"
And to restore heart and legs to the child, she made her eat a good piece of her cake and drink a good draught of her wine, after which she took her by the hand and led her back to the house.
And thus, who was it who scolded her when she knew all that had happened? It was her mother. "Blanchette, you must never speak to anyone, anything, or any animal on your way through the woods. Never again."
Blanchette promised.
"Oh, I promise, Mother, I promise. I will never more stop to listen to anyone or anything or any animal, especially a wolf."
At last the mother forgave her, and Blanchette, the little golden hood, kept her word, and in fine weather she may still be seen in the fields with her pretty little hood, the colour of the sun.
But to see her, you must rise early.
The end. I suppose wolves are not known for their valor.
Are you just now realizing this?
Well, you forget, when one commonly fraternizes with lichens, you see very refined creatures.
Yes, Emerson, yes. I'm not talking about your friends. I'm talking about wolves who want to steal and eat my fish.
Well, should you like my assistance with the protection spell?
A charm is always stronger with voices combined. Let's together, then. The circle members hand in hand, posters of the sea
And land.
thus do go about, thrice to thine, and thrice to nine, and thrice again. Remember what is mine. Peace. The charms wound up.
We must thank the Weird Sisters for that one.
Oh, I do. I send them enchanted waters for their stews.
I hear a dinner invitation.
Our honored guest should join us.
There is much to discuss. But for now, honored guests, we must say goodbye.
Yes, my friend. I do believe I see the crackle of a story on those flames, but for next time.
The
fire burns low, with stories ever glowing. Guests, other guests, come, follow me. You mustn't stay at our house for too long, or you may become a permanent resident. But the gardens are so pretty now. Did you see Lady Morgana's fish? So beautiful. Maybe we could take a detour. Oh, no. Stay close behind my guests. And whatever you do, don't cross the wolf, and don't answer any voices you hear on the way out.
was there.
Oh, but do come back. Hearing the circle stories brings me to life.
You have been listening to The House of Branching Paths, a theatrical podcast experience created by Mark Kilmer and Caroline Miller. For more of our content, join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/The House of Branching Paths. For links to all of our social media and to find a comprehensive list of contributors, please follow our link tree below. And for more stories like this and beyond, be sure to visit your local library. Thank you for joining us, honored guests, and remember, the fire may burn low, but the stories are ever glowing.